Welcome to Ringette Ontario's Team Talk, a social media series focused on connecting the Ringette community through conversations with players, coaches, officials, and sport leaders. This series is brought to you by See What She Can Do. See What She Can Do is a sport-loving community that celebrates active women of all backgrounds and capabilities and connects them to the people, stories, and local businesses they need to be active. Visit SeeWhatSheCanDo.com to explore stories of hope, resilience, adventure, and find the resources that inspire and keep you moving. Let's get started.
Hi everyone, my name is Rheese and I'll be your host for today's episode of Ringette Ontario's Team Talk, presented by See What She Can Do. Today we are joined by former NRL player Claudie Carpentier. Welcome to the show, Claudie.
Hi. How's it going?
Good, you?
Good, thanks.
That's good. So to get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What association are you currently affiliated with? What do you do in Ringette? And how long have you been involved in the sport?
So I guess I've been playing since I was 4 years old. So it's been 25 years. I played all levels, from AA, AAA to NRL. I currently play Open AA with Mississauga. And I guess, as you can hear, I'm from Quebec. I moved to Toronto about 5 years ago and kind of reached out to a bunch of associations. And then Mississauga needed a goalie, so here I was. And I also coached all levels. So I coached from bunnies to AAA. Especially in Quebec, but since I've been in Toronto, I also coach in Ontario. I was recently on the one of the coach members of the Southern AAA for the Ontario Winter Games. I did participated in the Canada Winter Games as well, 2 times. One time as a player, and then another time as a coach. And then, that's about it. I've done a lot of national and provincial championships, both as a player and as a coach. And I have a good background.
That's awesome. Must keep you really busy.
Yes, totally.
Oh, you said you have been a goalie since you were 4. Do you remember how you decided that you wanted to be a goalie?
Yes, actually. I think it's a family thing because my grandpa was a goalie playing hockey. And I remember when I was a little girl, I would see like photos of super old pads, puffy pads, leather pads. And it was always nice to see that. And also my mom, she was a goalie playing broom ball. And my brother was also a hockey goalie. So at the time, I wanted to be just like my brother. And I remember the exact rink, the exact room. My coach, when I was in bunnies, he said to everybody, who wants to be a goalie? And then everybody not everybody, but a lot of people kind of raised their hands. And I was probably that one at the back, like, me, pick me, right? So I probably saw it in my eyes, and I basically started as a goalie, and I never been a player. Never removed those pads.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what goalie did you look up to when you were growing up, and why?
I guess that's a good question. I would say back in the days, I guess I can say that now. It makes me feel old a little bit. But back in the days, I would look up to a goalie called Manon Réaume. So I don't know if you guys know her, but she was the first woman playing a game in the NHL. And she was also the first woman playing in the men's professional minor league hockey again. And she went to the Olympic Games. She's done the World Woman Championship, and she won gold. She was all over the media at the time I started playing Ringette. And she was interviewed a lot of times, and she would say, it was frustrating because I kept being cut from teams, and I kept being refused on teams because I was either not good enough or just because I was a girl. And she would tell people that she just kept doing what she was doing. She kept working hard, and she got to where she got, right? And as a young little girl, I would look up to her and I would be like, hey, I want to be just like her, right? So I think with perseverance, you can kind of accomplish great things. So Manon Réaume was a really, really good a good role model for me.
Yeah, it's always good to like have someone to like look up to inspire you and keep you motivated to keep on going.
Totally.
So as you're saying, you also played in the NRL, AAA, and in several provincial championships. So how did you handle all the pressure of playing in those big games?
Yeah, I guess it comes with pressure, right? Those big games, and I'm sure you've experienced that as well. I guess to me, first of all, being a goalie, I like it. I love it. I love to get on the ice, and I like the little rush of adrenaline that you get whenever you get on the ice, right? And the little challenge, like, come to me, I'll stop that ring. So I think I have already, I'm in a mental state where I'm comfortable with that sort of pressure. When you say, "Oh, I'm stressed," but it's a good stress. I think that's kind of what I see when I play big games. But I guess there's two things that I would always do, and it's preparation, and it's also being focused. So in terms of preparation, I would start a couple days before, right? And then you got to get ready physically and also mentally. So physically, I mean, I'm not a professional trainer or anything, but you want to get active. You don't want to go super hard so you're sore the next day or anything, but you just want to get the blood flow. And then you want to sleep well, drink well, eat well, right? All those things. So we all know this part of things. So a couple of days before the game. But then I guess when I say mentally, it's also, okay, who am I going to play against, right? What's the offensive like? What about the last game I played against them? And if I didn't play against them, like, did I ever see them play? Do I know, are there any special girls that I should be aware of? Some people who are like high scorers and things like that. So preparing mentally is just so important. And with that, you can use internet now. With internet, like there's videos of games played before, so you kind of want to rewatch those videos as well, see what can be done better, or how you're gonna really get ready for that game. So that's in terms of preparation, couple days before. And then you have the preparation, as we all know, right before the game, right? So you have your warm up, and then you get in the change room, and then you get all changed and ready. So you gotta find a right balance. Not everybody will get ready the same way and are gonna perform good, depending on the warm up they do, right? So you gotta really find what works for you. And so for me, I need my chatting time. I need to chat with the girls, and I need to have fun. Ringette, it's all about fun, right? So I would get my little chat time and like fun time during warm up and everything. And then after that, that's when I would kind of be in my bubble, try to focus a little bit more, maybe 10 minutes before the game or 15 minutes, depending on when the coach will talk. I'm going to go, bounce the ball around just to, just be focused. So when I say come with the focus, it's when you get on the ice, you also want to be focused. You want to get rid of all the distractions. So whoever is in the stands, mama, papa, whoever, right? Like your family, you want to forget about that. You still want to be in your bubble, and you got to stay focused. And also, I would get, let's say, one in, another in. It happens. You're a goalie, right? So you got to stay focused and think forward. Like, okay, I'm going to do better next. I'm going to do better next. So I think, yeah, for me, I guess with that in mind, like the preparation and being focused, I think that's how I can really manage to lower the pressure, right? And that way I feel a little bit less pressured, because I know I know what to expect basically when I get on the ice. So yeah, I guess that's how I would handle pressure.
Yeah. Like someone once told me that being a goalie is 90% a mental game. So you really have to make sure to just dial in and really focus on the game.
Completely.
And there are a lot of distractions that come up in the arenas? I mean, you're saying like you have the fans cheering and then you have players on the benches. So do you have any like cues that you tell yourself to keep your mind on the game and block out all the distractions?
Yeah, I guess you got to refocus. Anytime you see yourself kind of floating around, and I even sometimes I see people with like little a little piece of paper and carton saying like "Go Claudie" or whatever, right? You want to shut that down. So you're really like a horse, right? Just watching your game and making sure you're just in that bubble. So you really got to focus hard. And talking about distraction, makes me think, nowadays with cell phones and everything, I know it's probably something you guys all heard, but close that, as soon as you get at the rink, close the phone, that's also part of the distractions, or even the story that something that happened yesterday. When you went for a walk or whatever, you just want to make sure you focus on ringette, talk about ringette, and I think that way you kind of set yourself to only be focused ringette, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I remember too, like in one of my first games as a goalie, I made a save and I was so excited. It was one of my first saves, and I knew my dad was standing behind me, so I got up and I turned around and I waved
Like,
to him, but not paying attention to the
did you
rebound.
see?
They got the ring and came in and scored on me.
That's right. But lesson learned, right? Like
Yeah,
you're gonna
exactly.
make mistakes like this, and then you're gonna say, okay, yeah, next time I can't. And that's a super good point. Like when you make good saves, right? Or when you get all excited, or even you hear even the stand saying like, "Whoa, yay!" Everybody's all excited. That's nothing. Something else is coming at you, right? So gotta stay focused all the time. Same thing when you get a goal in, right? You get super disappointed, and then you're just putting so much pressure on yourself. But really, you really gotta focus on, okay, what's next? How can I do this better, right? So yeah.
What skills would you say that you've learned from Ringette that you've been able to apply to your career?
Yeah, that's funny because my boss and we always talk about that. My boss used to play soccer high level, and we always say the next person we're going to pick for a team is going to be somebody who played in a team sport, whatever, but as a team member, right? There's so many things that is, Ringette taught me. Could be communication, controlling emotions, there's just so many things, but the I think the biggest thing that kind of, it's a global thing, it's the teamwork. Teamwork for me is just so important because you get to a point where you have to work together to go to a common goal, right? You all have a common goal. You want to win, usually you want to win, but sometimes you can't win, so you're just like, hey, let's just not get 5 goals in, so that, and and if we can score 1 or 2 goals, perfect. But you get what I mean, right? You want to just make sure you work towards a common goal. And I guess you need everybody in the team to bring in their skills in order for the team to win. Because as a goalie, you can play the best game you can play, right? Stop all the rings and not let even 1 goal in, but you're still not winning. You still need your team in front of you to reach that goal that you guys all want. So that, to me, it's super important. The different skills that every player, each individual in the team will bring in to the team, it's all different. So in terms of diversity of skills, diversity of language, I played in teams when I was younger. I played in Gloucester, and I could not speak a word in English, right? Gloucester, it's fun because there's a couple of French girls, but we had to deal with our differences. We had to adapt. So adaptation, inclusion, all of that. And I think communication, it's just so important, and it all comes with teamwork. So to me, that's like the best thing that came out of Ringette, is that I can apply in my career, in my job. It's really just how important it is to work in a team environment, and how you can respect other people, all the individuals in your team. You got to bring respect, listen to them, communicate with them. So I think, yeah, it's kind of like my big umbrella. The teamwork is just so important.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a question from the audience here from Chris Sharp. How do you guys always stay positive when you guys are losing?
Yeah, that's a good question. Again, I think it comes back to always try to stay focused on what you can control. What happened happened. There's nothing you can change to it, right? So you really got to focus on what you can control, and the only thing you can control is to focus on what's going to happen next. So I think that's the way I see this. And it's also by encouraging your teammates. You're never alone in this. And that's the beauty of being part of a team, is that together you have to stay positive. So if you see somebody that is down, or if you see a goalie that is down because she let a couple goal in, go see her, and give her a tap. It's fine, no problem. Hey, mistake, no problem, we got your back, we're gonna go score 3 other. So I think the support from the other teammate is important, and controlling what you can control is just so important, and kind of forgetting about the past and moving on, right?
Yeah, for sure. So do you have any tips for younger players who are interested in trying to become a goalie but are nervous or scared?
Yeah. Okay. I guess you gotta try, right? If you're at least a little bit curious, you gotta try. But I guess the tip that I'd have to say would be talk to other goalies. Try to see what they like about the position, what they don't like about the position. Try to figure out if it's gonna be a good fit for you. Also, talk to your coach and see what would be expected from you, right? Um, and there's nothing that's stopping you from borrowing equipment, and ask your coach if you, or the team, if you can give it a try once. You're in a practice, you want to give it a try, give it a try. If it's not in a practice, and you want to just try at an outdoor rink, we all know that now with COVID, there's a lot of possibilities. So give it a try. I love the position so much. To me, it brings me, I would not see myself being a player. So I would just say, give it a try. And what's that expression? You miss all the chances you don't take, or something like that. But that's what I'm saying. You got to try it, but consult the people around you and see what they think about the position. What are the pros and cons, and see if you'd like this.
Yeah, I mean, you'll never know unless you try, right? So,
Exactly. How did you decide, Rheese, to play nets?
it was actually the day before our first game. We didn't have a goalie yet. So our coach went around calling all of the players on the team, like, will you try goalie? Will you try goalie? And I was one of the only players said, yeah, I'm willing to try. We lost the game 5-3, but I had so much fun. I never left the net after that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You like it or you don't. It's not for everybody, right? How many
Yeah.
times did I hear from my teammates or parents in the stands or whatever, and they would say, "Oh my God, I don't know how you do this. I don't know how you can handle this." It's really not for
Yeah.
everybody. So you got to give it a try, see if you like it, and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that I found it because I can't imagine my life without it.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, do you how important is the relationship, would you say, between the defense and the goalies on the ice?
Hmm. Good question. Um, it's crucial, right? It's just so important. um you you know as a goalie, the perspective that you have in your net, the perspective you have in your crease, is just so different than any other people on the ice. So it comes with communication as well, right? So you're kind of like a coordinator a little bit. You need to have like some key words where you say, like, coming up, or somebody on the corner or behind, or pick things like that. But there needs to be a connection, because technically you don't we can play alone. Like, I can play alone. I don't necessarily need my defense, and defense, there may be super good defense and they may not need a goalie, right? It's like music and two musicians. You have one musician plays fantastic, so good, sounds great, and then you have the other musician, same thing, different instrument, but sounds super good. And then when you put them together, that's when you kind of find the harmony, and that's the harmony that you want to go find on the ice, right? You want the proper timing as well. For goalie rings, sometimes like you need the proper timing, so you really need to find that harmony through communication and things like that.
We have another question from the audience. How do you deal with pressure if you're in a championship game or gold medal game?
Yeah. Pressure, to me, it's not on the goalie. The pressure is on the team, right? So as soon as you start thinking that way, as soon as the culture of the team is the pressure is not on the goalie and it's on the team, that's going to remove pressure on the goalie, right? So, for example, if I receive a shot, that probably means it went through the forwards, through the center, and through the defense, right? So that's what a team is. And you will win collectively and you will lose collectively. And you better be sure that if a forward makes a mistake up there, because we all make mistakes, if the forward makes a mistake up there, I got her back. I'm here. It's fine. No problem. Same thing. If I make a mistake as a goalie, you better get my back. You better go score another goal. And I think that's how it works. Like that's what a team is. So to me, when they say, oh, it must be a lot of pressure, no, not really. Everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes too, right? And if I make one, well, it's part of the game. No problem. Let's just move on. Again, move on, and let's go score another one. So, it's common in Ringette that you're gonna have games where it's goal, 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 and then you're like in the NRL, it's super high scores. It's common that you see 6-6 or 7 or 9-8. Like there's high scores now, so you can always get back up and then just do your best moving forward, right? So I think that's why I would say there's pressure is on everybody. It's not just on the goalie.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's never like a loss is never blamed on a goalie, and you hear that a lot, but it's the whole team, because like if it did get through you, it got through everybody else too.
And you'll have bad games, and it happens, right? It's just part of it. So it's not a matter of how bad you played or whatever. It's just a matter of, okay, how are we going to get back up? How is my team supporting me, right? When I'm down, how is my team supporting me so that I can move back up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Any off-ice tips for goalies looking to improve their skills?
Yeah. It's a bit like the preparation that I was saying earlier. You have the physical aspects and then you have the mental aspect. So to improve the skills, same old, right? Like, got to eat well, got to drink well. So I think setting good habits is super important, and that applies to all athletes, really. But as a goalie, what you could do different, or not different, but what you could focus on. It's not true that as a goalie, you don't need cardio. That's one thing sometimes that I hear, like, oh, you don't go up and down the ice. So, you just stay in your crease. You must not need cardio. But let me tell you, when we're stuck in my zone for the full entire period, or even for a full 5 minutes, I'm tired and I need cardio. So I would say you always got to work on the cardio. When it comes to like, more technical stuff, I would say you got to focus on your leg work. You got to focus on balancing core, reflex, quick feet, and I would say, like, my best, because again, I'm not a trainer. I don't want to give bad advice or whatever, but what worked for me, I would just go on YouTube, and I would just search a little something about like quick feet exercise or reflex exercise, and then I would find some stuff with tennis balls and like just a lot of quick feet exercise. Yeah, I mean, that's how I would improve my skills physically. But then there's also the other technical aspect where you can watch videos. Again, I'm kind of repeating myself here, but you got to watch videos. You got to watch yourself play. So if you're a team where usually the games are not filmed, ask for it. Ask your parents, ask your friend, ask your coaches. It's so good to do video review. And as a coach as well, I do put a big emphasis on that, on say like, okay, see what happened here. What could you have done better, right? So that way you can really see, okay, yeah, let's practice this. And if you don't have videos of yourself, watch videos of other games. Watch even the national teams, right? You see like super good techniques, super good ringette out there. So you can kind of familiarize yourself and just focus on the goalie and see kind of, how you can improve your performance, really.
Yeah, like learning off of other more experienced goalies, I think is a really great way to improve your own game because they've already learned the lessons.
Yeah, exactly. And like my family, and I'm going to compare hockey goalie with ringette goalie, and I don't like doing that. But there's a lot of similarities between hockey and ringette in nets, right? But there's still a lot of difference, and we can talk about this later. But I would say younger, all my life, my parents and my brother, like we would be in hockey all the time, and we would watch hockey with midget triple A, and we would watch the minor leagues, and we would also watch the NHL. But I would always focus just on the goalie, just the movement, what they do, and I just analyze this all the time. So I think just watching games, it's just so, it's so important.
Yeah, for sure. We have another question from the audience from Carla. Do you like being the only goalie or having a goalie partner? How do you balance that relationship?
Yeah, that's a good question, Carla. I love having a partner. I need a partner goalie. I think it helps. I feel like I'm not alone in my little world. We're kind of buddies. So I really, to me, it's important to have a great relationship, of course, but it's hard. Sometimes you can't have great relationships. And I've lived that. I lived, a season where I didn't have a good relationship with the other goalie, and it was difficult. It was a hard season, but you always you got to do your things anyway. Sometimes it's hard. So how do you balance that relationship? I mean, you got to stay positive in the practices. It's not a competition. That's the thing. So sometimes I feel like when you're two, there's some sort of feeling that there's a competition. No, again, you're a team. You're a team member, and everybody will bring something different to the team, meaning that sometimes one goalie may be better for one game than the other goalie. And, that's why I would also like having a partner goalie. It's because sometimes I felt like that game, I wouldn't super want to play that game. So the other goalie would be like, yeah, I'll take it. Or sometimes if it's not going well in the game and you're just like, gosh, I got to change. I would change with a partner. So I would say love being two. It's always nicer when the relationship is good, but I mean, you always got to keep it positive. Yeah. What are your thoughts about this, Rheese?
I do really like having a goalie partner. I mean, like you have each other's back. You look out for each other. You help each other get better, and you support each other. And no one knows the position better than a fellow goalie. So it's just really great to have someone to really connect with on that position.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I love having a partner there.
That's right.
We have another viewer question. So how do you reset your focus after being pulled from the ice or after dealing with a loss?
Yeah. It's part of the game, right? So I'm going to repeat myself a little bit, but it's not about what happened. It's really about, to me, it's just an opportunity to reflect on what happened and then see, okay, what could I've done better? How can I improve next time? How can I get up of this and move forward and move on, right? So to me, it's just a good opportunity to kind of look back and see how you're gonna improve from this. And also, I guess being pulled from a game, it's never easy. And sometimes you got to realize that it's not necessarily because of the goalie, right? Sometimes you played super good, but guess what? In front didn't go too well. So coaches, sometimes we have to make a decision, right? And say, okay, we need a little refocus. We need a change in momentum. So let's change the goalie and then see like it's maybe gonna wake up the defenses and the players. So sometimes it's not even on you. So you gotta think it that way as well. So it's what's best for the team at this point. Sometimes we're good, super into our game, and sometimes we're not. So either you were not good or you were good in that game. It does not really matter. You just got to think about it from a team perspective, and what was best for the team at that moment. So again, if you have things to improve, turn all your negative thoughts and turn that into positive ones and see, okay, how am I going to do this next time? How can I do this better? It may be just a matter of, hey, okay, next practice, or I'm going to spend a full 20 minutes just working on this, right? So talk to your coaches and see what you can do. But there's always a way out of this. So again, it's focusing on what you can control. And I say it and I'll say it again, and I'm repeating myself, but focus on what you can control, focus on the present moment. And that's how you're going to be able to move on, right? Move on, move forward.
Yeah. I think keeping a positive mindset is like one of the most important things to do as a goalie. Because if you get into your own head, you won't be able to perform your best. You just have to keep your mind in a good place.
That's right.
So we know that being a goalie comes with a lot of responsibility and pressure. How can coaches, teammates, and parents support their goalies better?
Yeah. I think that question is really similar to one of our viewers' question about how do you handle pressure, right? So I think as a parent, as a teammate or whatever, you really got to say it's not on you. Like, you got to change that culture, that perspective where the pressure is just on the goalie, right? So as soon as the goalie realizes that, hey, yeah, maybe it's not just on me. And also, it's not about you. It's not about the goalie. It's about the team. So as soon as you start realizing that we're a whole and you're not playing individually, right? The team will need you, but can also do well with another goalie, for example. So as soon as you kind of realize that as a team, it was best at the time, or like, or if something didn't go well, or you were pulled or whatever, you just got to be able to, or I guess the parents, you got to be able to explain that to the goalie, that it's not all on the goalie. The pressure is on all the individuals on the ice. So I think turning that perspective will really help, kind of supporting that goalie.
Yeah, for sure. So here's another viewer question. So are goalie coaches necessary? I feel they're very important, but I don't always see them.
You asked that to a goalie coach. So yeah, of course. I think from experience, having a goalie coach is just so important. You just get so much more attention. But I know sometimes it's not always easy to find a good goalie coach, right? So you want to reach out, and even invite some other, older goalies to come practice 1 or 2 times. You can even maybe sometimes initiate some sort of goalie clinics. Those things, it's just so important to have just a focus on the goalie. When it's not possible in the practice, I guess the thing I have to say is just don't let the goalie alone during a practice. Always keep her busy. And I'm not saying like, drill those, like, go one after the other, ring, and rubber. That's not really what you want. You just want to always focus on something, communicate with the goalie too, what she wants to work on. if there is there any area of improvement that she could work on. But yeah, you do want to pay attention to goalies just as much as you pay attention to forward and pay attention to centers and defenses, right? Because most of the time you do drills like specifically for those positions. So you also got to do drills for the goalies that does not only entail just shooting at the goalie, right? You want to move around and see what type of play that needs maybe a little bit of improvement. It's gonna like improve the leg work, right? And the positioning and the angles. So super important. I guess the other thing that I have to say about this, and I said I was going to talk about it as well, is there's a big difference between hockey and ringette. So I saw I've seen this a lot is people bring in dads that has a lot of hockey experience, right? And they say, oh yeah, I was a goalie. And this is great because the goalie's gonna have attention and you're gonna be able to practice technical skills. Great, awesome. But you gotta realize that hockey is just so different than ringette in so many aspects. And one of them, for example, is the crease. In ringette, nobody can be in your crease, right? As opposed to hockey, you got to play a little bit more deep because guess what? Somebody can just shift you and come and score. But ringette, it's not the same. So the positioning of a goalie in ringette and hockey is very different. And sometimes when I see hockey goalie coaches play, and then I feel like the technique is a bit more a bit more deep in the net, so I always try to focus on staying out more because as a ringette goalie, it's your zone. You can do, you can cover so much more angle if you stay out. So yeah, that's kind of just one little tip that I wanted to say when we talk about goalie coaches.
Yeah, like I played like 4-on-4 hockey for one summer, and just even then I was like, oh my, it's so different. Like
so different. And that's true. I had never played hockey before, and when I moved to Toronto, my work, they were like, "Oh, we have a hockey league, and just after work, if anybody wants to play," I was like, "Hey, I'm a goalie. I could give it a try." And I tried the first game. I was like, way out, and then I got shifted so many times, and it's I think the crease situation is just so different, such a different perspective. So yeah, you got to kind of focus on that when you think about the difference between hockey and ringette in terms of coaching.
Yeah. We have a question here from Colleen. So how do you stay with the team when you are injured?
Good question, because I never really been injured, but I did have a lot of teammates who were injured and kind of stayed with the team, right? You're part of the team. So to me, I guess the two times where we had like major injuries, one time it was concussion and the player couldn't play anymore, and another time was a knee. And the two times, and from my experience, it was great. And we're a team, right? So we need everybody, and everybody can bring something to the team, whether it's on ice or off ice. So as a team member, you want to be there. Whether it's warm up, you just stay on this side, whether it's on the bench, if you can, in the room, like it's just so important to kind of still be part of the team. It's not because you're injured that you're no longer in the team. So yeah, to me, again, I kind of bring this back to, we all have something to bring to the team, whether it's on ice or off ice. I don't know if you agree with that, but from my experience, what I've seen is that always the time that the girls were injured and couldn't play, they wanted to be there, and they were just, our third leg, and they would help us, and they would just be there to cheer us up and stay things positive, right? Keep things positive. So
Yeah, really good to keep up the positivity too, because like when you aren't able to go on the ice, it's tough. So just having all that support together, and then you being there to support them, is just,
it also brings a different perspective, right? Like you see it from an outside, because usually you're like in the team, you're like, we say we win and we lose as a team, like together, right? But from an outside perspective, sometimes you're just even sitting in the stands, you're like, okay, girls, like in between the two periods or whatever, you get back in the room and you're like, okay, this happened. Did you see this? So you can also kind of comment on the game and see like what could be improved as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I have another question here from Amanda. So, what are some goalie or good goalie resources for drills?
Goalie resources for drills. I'll be honest with you. I always go on YouTube. Kind of give it a good Google. Always go on YouTube. And most of the time you're gonna have something related to hockey. Unless I start my YouTube channel, maybe I should do that. Uh, but really, I think I always just look at drills that I can find online. YouTube is kind of my best site. There's some other hockey associations out there that they have some sort of like plan for goalies and for development. Those are kind of I kind of just Google it and pick and choose, right? Because again, hockey is so different than ringette, so you got to be careful of what you pick and what you bring on the ice for the goalie. But I would just give it a good Google. Most of the time, YouTube, because if you're not a goalie and you want to get your goalie in your team to practice, sometimes YouTube would probably be better. But as a goalie, sometimes you can follow the little drawings a little bit better when it's just like PDFs. But yeah, I guess I don't have a lot. I don't have anything specific because whenever I get ready for practices, I just come up with my own, or I kind of get inspired by my good friend Google.
Yeah, Google's got the answer for
Oh
everything.
yeah, all the time. Yeah, for sure.
One last question. This one is from Angela. So, what style of trapper do you guys use?
um I'm like a older generation here, right? I didn't grow up using the like the whatever trapper, the newest trapper, right? With the glove inside and then the whatever pad you have outside. I started when I was younger in the 90s. We only had like that one glove, and then I switched to a blocker in two hands. I had two blockers. So I tried that. It didn't work out well because the blocker is just so rigid and like you can pick up the ring properly. So kind of defeated the purpose. And then I went to the regular hockey trapper. And I guess that's what I'm using still. And so what I do is before I used to have a trapper that was like super, super used. So I was able to just pick up the ring and throw it with the hockey trapper. And that was easy. But then when I changed my equipment, it was a bit more stiff and I was never able to regain that confidence with that trapper. So now I'm kind of just doing the switch, but I'm old school. So all the other goalies that I've been coaching recently, they've all had the newest kind of trapper. Not my favorite, but that's kind of my taste. Maybe I'm old school. So what do you use, Rheese?
Started off with the Kiwi glove, but I found the shots were starting to hurt with the gloves. There's not so much padding. So I just at the end of last season switched to a trapper. I don't know too much about trappers. I just grabbed one that fit well and went with that.
So, and how do you do your goalie ring? Do you put your stick under your arm and like pick it up with your blocker, or you use your trapper?
I've been trying to use my trapper.
Cool. Yeah.
It's hard to learn. It's so different now.
So I guess it really depends on the preference and who's more comfortable, like how comfortable you are with either the trapper or the glove or the blocker. I don't, as a coach, I don't mind. You just need to be comfortable and be able to do a proper goalie ring. So all the techniques I've tried, and I picked my like the one that I preferred, but I think it's up to you guys to kind of choose what you like. But yeah, you really want to be comfortable with your goalie ring because in the end, that's what's the most important, right? And I guess you got to practice. Just keep practicing, especially when you do a switch, right? When you do a change, you kind of want to have a good transition between your old piece of equipment and new piece of equipment, because then you don't want to get stuck in a game where, you can't do your goalie ring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you've practiced enough before you go into a game with something new.
It took me an entire season to switch. An entire season that I was not
Wow.
ready. And guess what? My full set of equipment was all nice, all new, but I didn't care. I was like, I'm gonna keep my old trapper because I'm not comfortable with the new one, right? So keep me a
Yeah.
full. So, but every practice I had it on top of my net, and I would always switch it and kind of try to do that transition very smoothly. So now, I'm a bit more comfortable with my new one.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Claudie, thank you so much for joining us today. We really enjoyed hearing everything that you had to share.
No problem. It's my pleasure. We can do that anytime. We could talk for hours just talking about goalie stuff for sure.
Yeah. Bye for now.
Bye.
So we've reached the end of our show today, but before we head out, we would like to honor someone special. This week, we asked all of you to nominate a player, volunteer, coach, fan, or official in the Ringette community to be recognized during our See What She Can Do moment. This month, we would like to recognize Brianna Lee Feeney from the St. Mary's Ringette Association. Brianna has been involved in Ringette for over 15 years as a goalie, trainer, and board member. She was nominated by Aaron Thompson, who says, Brianna gives so much to our Ringette Association. Last year, she helped coach and on goalie. She took on a head coaching position and is on our executive committee. She is a great coach. Brianna, thank you for your hard work and helping develop goalies in the game of Ringette. If you would like to recognize someone special through a See What She Can Do moment, visit at Ringette Ontario or at See What She Can Do on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram for more information. Thank you all for tuning in to Team Talk, and we'll see you next month.